I just remember one night I was sitting in bed thinking about my life. I just started crying. It was like a different type of cry. It was just like that, what's the point of me even being here? It was almost beyond suicidal. It was like suicidal is like a physical thing. My soul was hurting. I just felt, this is it. This is who I am. This is who I'm going to be for the rest of my life. I'm going to keep on living, but I'm not really.
Pretty bird. Pretty bird.
I always have a hard time describing myself because I'm really weird. I'm the executive director of Net and Norml. At 20 years old, I'm leading an organization, which can get kind of chaotic, but I feel like I'm pretty good at it. It's really weird to be leading people, and sometimes you don't even feel like you're all together. For about a year, my anxiety was really bad, and that was when I was about 18 or so. I couldn't go anywhere without somebody with me that I trusted. Like, I couldn't go to the grocery store by myself. I couldn't talk to a waitress or a waiter. I couldn't interact with strangers on any level. People don't realize how, damaging it is in your life, in your personal life, when you feel like you can't approach a stranger, because there's so many times where you need to. Denton Norml is a huge part of my life. My first Norml event was the Cowtown rally in Fort Worth. It was a DFW Norml meeting. There were 3 people that spoke there: Barbara Humphreys, Adam Hess, and Jeff Pender. I was so nervous to be there. When I was hearing those stories, it didn't matter where I was. It just kind of clicked with me, and I just felt like something changed. So I started to go to more DFW Norml events. And I started making friends with those people, those 3 people. They're my best friends now. I also made friends with Sean McAllister, who's the executive director of DFW Norml. And I remember I went over to his house one day. I told him, I was like, you know what, I'm thinking about, what if, I could maybe try and help start something in Denton. And he's like, why don't you start Denton Norml? And I was like, no. So about 2 weeks later, we went to a DFW Norml monthly meeting, and Sean started introducing this person. And then he just goes, Caroline Turner. He didn't ask me to speak. What am I supposed to say? I walk up there to the stage, and he gives me a hug. And when he gives me the hug, he leans in my ear and he says, tell them about Denton Norml. Something came over me. I'm getting kind of teary-eyed thinking about it, because something just came over me at that moment. I just started talking, and I wasn't nervous. And I just started telling them about Denton Norml.
Yeah. Okay, so here's the thing.
It was really interesting to see that transition from that extreme fear to the empowerment of speaking to other people.
It's really interesting how I used Denton Norml to overcome the emotions that I felt. With my inability to be overwhelmed, you'd think me standing in front of a crowd would be the worst thing. Me going to marches would be the worst thing. A big part of that turning point was not just myself being able to cope with it, but having people that saw past my anxiety, people that saw past my depression, people that saw that there was somebody in there that had the potential to do great things.
Seeing where I've come, seeing all the things I've accomplished just in the last 6 months, it makes me really be able to relate to people who are where I was. So it really kind of gives me the ability to connect with people that are trying to understand their potential and understand their capabilities despite their anxiety and despite their depression, and saying, this is how I did it, and this is why I know you can do it too.